a wide receiver. It's speed, it's quickness, it's ability to win in one-on-one. And that is different from the outside to the inside as someone who played almost exclusively in the slot. Like, his skill set is built for that. And what the Eagles are asking him to do is far less than what the Commanders were asking him to do as a first-round pick. So I think this actually could be one of those match made in heaven, if Jalen Hurts has the season that we expect.
All right, so Hawk has me sold, Graziano.
Yeah.
You on the other hand are
I'm
not.
skeptical because they got him from a team in their own division, right? Like if he's that much of a kind of a difference-making kind of player, is Washington going to trade him to a team they got to play twice a year, right? So look, I think I love Orlovsky and his passion, but you got to put Houston's 3 wide receivers ahead of this group and possibly the Bears, as Hawk mentioned. Dotson hasn't proven it. And like the Eagles, the third-round pick for a number 3 receiver feels like a little bit of a high price. Maybe Hawk is right. He knows more about wide receiver than I'll ever know in my life. But I feel like the Eagles kind of maybe stretched a little bit for this one. If they have the best receiving group in the league, I don't think it's because of the move they made yesterday.
Yeah, and the in-division thing was the one that was a little bit suspect. Why would you trade a guy that you feel can be productive against a team you're going to play twice a year? That, to me, was a little bit of a red flag. But Bart Scott will play along.
Yeah,
what do you think?
Well, one man's trash is another man's treasure. I'm just asking what in the John Wick is going on here. What type of marker does Howie Roseman have that he's, why would you trade a talented player like that within the division? And what this allows them to do is to play basically out of 11 personnel, right? We call it 3 wides. And you talk about the difference in the pieces together. Sometimes the whole, the sum of the parts is better than the whole. When you think about the ability with Saquon Barkley there as well, and Saquon Barkley, Himbo, thanks a lot, averaged 5 yards a pop out of that personnel grouping. And you talk about what this is allowing is being able to create more space, right? And it's just creating more space because now everybody has to deal with it. Chan Gailey used to do this a lot. Chan Gailey used to run out of that same personnel grouping, but he ran power runs because now you have to figure out how you're going to match up. Are you going to go sub on first down? Are you going to go big sub on first down? And then they're going to run power runs, out of that personnel group. And if you go with the nickel, then they run the power runs. If you go out and you put the linebacker out there or the big safety, then now they spread.
Okay. So yes, 100%. Like, the Eagles have the best pass catching group in the NFL. Like, you want to say that it's going to be either the Bears or the Texans? Listen, I'm high on those teams too, but like, let's be serious here. I mean, AJ Brown, Devontae, and Dotson are going to eat. They're going to feast because they do also now have Dallas Goedert and Saquon Barkley and the mobile quarterback in Jalen Hurts and Kellen Moore that's going to scheme them open and a top offensive line in the NFL. That is not what the Texans or the Bears have. So they are going to be set up to feast, undeniably. Again, if we want to talk about individual players in a vacuum, then you could maybe start to make some of the arguments of like, okay, well, this team has Diggs as their potential third wide receiver. Like, we can play that game. But when you have to look at the team as a whole. You have to look at everything, complete here. You also have to look at who Jalen Hurts is. And Caleb Williams is just going to be a rookie. I think Caleb Williams will be great, but Jalen Hurts is already a proven quarterback in the NFL. C.J. Stroud is, of course, ascending too. And I also do believe in what they're doing there offensively and with Bobby Slowick as their coordinator. So I think the Texans will have plenty of success. I have no desire to pull those other teams down and for a reason to elevate the Eagles. But are we serious? A.J. Brown is an absolute beast. Devontae would be a number 1 receiver on like 80% of the teams out there. Like, what are we talking about? The fact that Devontae is okay being a number 2 receiver is remarkable. Because we see all these other wide receivers constantly complaining. Whether it's the Brandon Ayuk, T. Higgins, whatever. And the Eagles were able to just sign him, no problems. Devontae is a beast. And what's beautiful about what Devontae and A.J. Brown, they're so complementary. They do different things. Devontae's a burner. AJ can do pretty much everything, but AJ is just a physical, he's like the next level of what a TO looks like. And then you got Dotson to route it out. And then you still have Goddard at tight end. And Saquon, who can do, again, pretty much anything. He's kind of the Swiss Army knife, the Christian McCaffrey type back. Combined with the legitimate offensive line. And an actual play caller in Kellen Moore, How can they not feast? They got everything you need. They have the run game to balance out the passing game. They have the quarterback who can essentially do anything you need him to do on the field. So he's not limited. You're not like, oh, well, we can just do this, and then, you're back him in the guard. No. That's not Jalen Hurts. I know people believe that based off what they saw in 23. That was because they had a terrible coordinator, and he was injured. So they have everything they need. It's one thing if they had these weapons, but then they also had a suspect offensive line. Then you would say, well, I don't know. Will Jalen Hurts have time in the pocket? Yeah, he's going to have time. He's going to have time. Well, they have some weapons, but they don't really have a run game, so it's going to be hard. Teams are just going to be able to do blank, blank, blank. Well, no, they have a run game. Well, they have a great runner, but they don't have the offensive line, so will he be able to get through? Yeah, they got the offensive line. Like, no matter how we want to twist it, the complementary pieces are there. So this is going to be an incredibly balanced offense. Now, maybe all their numbers might not be eye-popping because there's so many mouths to feed. And that's a good thing. That's a good problem to have. So you might not see some of these cartoonish numbers, and so you'll say, oh, well, maybe they're not playing good. But it's going to be clear if you look beyond the box score that it is box office, that it is all about the business. So I think the Eagles are set up to have some insane levels of success. This whole idea, well, you're suspicious because the Commanders, gave up Dotson. Sometimes that's just the move that you need to do. Sometimes it's just the right move for the Commanders, right? And also, let's be serious here. And I believe that the Commanders will be a better team moving forward. But let's be serious here. It's not like the Commanders are known for making like amazing decisions over the years. They haven't exactly been competitive. So we can't just use what the Commanders do as a barometer for what's successful or what a good choice is. Unlike what we can for Howie Roseman and the Eagles, because virtually every single thing he does ends up being a home run. It's undeniable. I mean, he's a world-class, top-level GM, and anyone who debates that is just clearly super biased. So, if anything, you shouldn't be looking at what the Commanders do as a right or wrong decision and say, I'm suspicious of this. You should look at what Howie Roseman did and say, well, he made that decision, so I'm going to trust him. I'm going to lean more towards him making the correct decision and say another team making the wrong decision. That's what you do when you follow the successful people. You think that the successful people who make successful decisions, you defer to their intelligence, their higher authority, their choices, not the ones that haven't necessarily been as successful. So they got this backwards here. And it is so funny to see the flip-flopping in the media. What was it? Graziano, is that how you say his last name? I forget. I'm so bad with names. 1 minute he's saying the Eagles are trash, they're not going to be that good. The next minute he's like, oh, the Eagles are going to be great, they're going to be top notch. And now he's like, I don't know. It's just like the flip flopping, man. Is the whiplash. I just can't with that anymore. But listen, I'm always going to be okay with people not wanting to say so-and-so is the best, so-and-so is the number one, whether it's team, player, whatever, because I don't like doing that. I don't like rankings. I feel bad that I always have to say that in like all these videos because we're just so obsessed. In the media, they're so obsessed with these definitive things. The Eagles have the best pass catching group, and I just rather say top. The Eagles have a top, passing group. I don't need it to be number one, 100%. Let's defend this with all my honor, right? And let's rip down all the other teams. Like, I don't feel the need to do that. I can easily talk about how the Eagles have a top pass catch group in the NFL, and it's very, very clear. And we don't have to kind of, nitpick this and try to bring down any player in service of doing so. But the Eagles are going to feast. They're going to feed, and they are going. It's crazy that I'm even going to say this, but they're apparently going to shock a lot of people in the media because there's still plenty of people in the media that just don't really seem to have the confidence behind the Eagles, which quite frankly I find shocking considering how legitimate they've been for like the last 10 years or so. I mean, they've consistently been a top team in the NFL, reaching just very high levels of success, multiple Super Bowl. I mean, they've been to multiple Super Bowls in the last 7 years. That's not common for many teams. I mean, I think it's really only the 49ers, the Chiefs, and the Eagles that have done that, you know, in that time frame. Like, no one else. No one else. Maybe technically the Patriots, I think, but that's not the real Patriots because it's not Tom Brady, so who cares, right? That was like with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. I think technically I think they went twice too, right? Because they went in 2017, lost to the Eagles, and then they won in, what was that, 2019 or 2018? I can't remember now, when they beat the Rams, if I got that timeline correct. So yeah, interesting stuff. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. Do you think the Eagles have the best pass catching group in the NFL? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.